Welcome to episode 20 of the Movie Lighthouse, shining a light through the fog of film. My name is James.
I'm Laurie.
And I'm Wyndham.
How are we doing, guys?
Doing great, man.
Yeah, good, thank you, mate.
Yeah?
Spring's a springing.
Wonderful.
It is.
I've planted grass in my rear, and then it's starting to come. I was getting a bit worried.
Starting to sprout.
Yeah. When I was ordering it, the woman said, "It's a bit early, though, isn't it?" Now, admittedly, it was about a month ago that I seeded my rear, but now it's starting to
take hold.
Yeah.
Nice.
Spring's a beautiful.
You're going to have.
Does it look different? Is it a different colour to the old grass? Or something?
It's younger. It's like baby grass.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Is it American bluegrass?
Oh, shut up.
What? My dad imported bluegrass seed because he's like that.
Bluegrass is bong 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 bong.
Yeah, but it's based on the area of America where it started, where the grass was blue.
Fuck off.
Yeah, all right, that was made up.
Right, so we've had a little bit of mail. Well, Columbo has. Columbo's got fan mail.
Bloody hell.
Yeah,
Nice.
about bloody time.
Yeah.
Get in.
I haven't got it to hand, unfortunately.
Oh, right.
But it was very nice. I sent it straight to him, my dog.
Is there any paraphrasing you can provide?
It was such a long time since I wrote that bit down. I can't really remember what we were talking
I'm
about.
sure it was high praise.
I think it was about Cujo and his love of watching movies.
Ah, yes.
So if you've got any pets out there that like watching any of our cult films, drop us a line, send us a picture, put it on the website.
Our cat.
We've got a website.
Our cat likes watching all the crap Louisa watches. They just curl up together for hours watching the same TV. It's bizarre. She won't watch anything with me.
She won't watch it with you.
No.
Your cat's got good taste.
Well, whatever.
You've just reminded me, actually. Miss Marple, very nonchalant, beautiful cat, but very nonchalant to life, really. However, I've never seen her so attentive when I was watching Twin Peaks: The Return, the new series of Twin Peaks, and she was constantly looking at it. I was about 3 episodes. I kept looking up at her. She did not take her eyes off of it.
Wow.
Which was more than me, really, because I did wane a little bit.
Which you shouldn't be like that.
Did you like it?
I absolutely, I think I adore it.
Wow. Crumbs, I haven't seen it.
I liked the bit at the end.
All right, well, let's just. I'm going back. I'm chewing it. I'm giving myself like an episode every 2 weeks. Really proper eating it.
So I've got a little shout out as well to Colleen and her family who have just started listening to the show.
Who's Colleen?
Well, I was recently in America without going into the facts. She was a nurse that was very useful out there, very kind, very helpful.
Oh, lovely.
And she's also a bit of a fan of our genre. So
Perfect. Welcome, Colleen and family.
Yes.
Well, Colleen,
And thanks for
baby.
looking after James.
yes, thank you very much for looking after me. All right, he's got some news.
Hi, hon. How's it going?
I don't know whether it's news, but I'm going to talk about it anyway.
Go on.
The new Hellboy movie
Oh, yeah.
Dropped on Thursday.
dropped on Thursday. A new Hellboy with David Harbour.
Yeah.
Rob Perlman has departed. Guillermo del Toro has departed. I really like those first two.
Me too.
And we discussed this a couple of episodes ago. You were a bit yeah.
I'm a little bit meow.
But I was hopeful, and apparently this Hellboy movie is actually the third in what was intended to be the Del Toro trilogy.
There is a continuation then?
Well, it's the third of that canon.
Yeah.
It was intended to be the third of that movie. It's actually set before the first two, apparently.
I think you call that prequel.
Oh, there you go. But the direction that the studio wanted to take departed from the direction Del Toro wanted to take. So he said, you know what, good luck. I don't want to direct that movie. So he left.
Slightly more Spanishy though.
Yeah, then Ron Perlman left. So it's taken them 11 years to find a director and a Hellboy. And what has happened in the meantime is Deadpool hit.
Yes.
And the type of movie Deadpool is, I think it's a Fox Studios film, the Hellboy movie, and they've evidently kind of gone, that was really successful, why don't we do that, but with Hellboy? So it's I haven't seen it, but apparently it's they really, really ham up the violence and the action sequences. The director, can't remember his name, but he's really well known for directing 2 of the end of season mega episodes of Game of Thrones.
Oh, right.
Massive battles. So he does that very well, but apparently it's a bit effing and jeffing and it's a bit all that kind of caper. So
yeah, it's very adult themed, isn't it?
yeah, and apparently it doesn't hit as a result.
Can I say I'm quite shocked that the Golden Army is 11 years old.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, is that number 2?
Yeah.
I still think they look great.
Yes, they do.
I mean, we said this about
yeah. All right, I've got some news. There's a new series of The Twilight Zone, which is about to drop.
Yeah, and it's being introduced by the guy who did Get Out and US. I've forgotten his name.
Jordan Peele.
That's it. So he's our MC.
Oh, really?
For that show. Could be quite good. Is it got like guest writers? I imagine.
Don't know anything about it. I saw the trailer in the cinema.
Oh, does it look good?
Yeah, very good.
That's
What's
the way
the
that
theme
American
tune?
does TV, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. There we go.
Exciting.
Anyone else got anything?
I've got some news. So there was a teaser that dropped on Friday.
Is this?
Yeah,
let me guess.
what he's talking about.
So now I'm going to admit something's happened to me. Even when I'm alone, it's a very strange thing. There is I'm very conscious that there's a certain death that's happened, and I think the Last Jedi or whatever it was called, something happened. And I think it might have been that scene where Luke Skywalker lit up that lightsaber and was just about to kill Ben Solo laying there. But anyway, there's something strange that's happened. However, this teaser appeared and I was sat actually at a table talking about some shit, and then someone just thrust it in front of my face. I was like, no. Sod it. And I watched it. And yeah, I cried my eyes out. It's still completely got me. And I'll do all the work, guys. I know you've given up. I know you're exhausted. Leave it to me.
Well, the rumour is that they're going to kind of retcon all the stuff that nobody liked in the second one.
You see it?
So she is going to be important. Snoke, or what was his name? Snook. He's probably not really dead. You know, all this nonsense.
I think Snoke is dead. You hear the Emperor laughing at the end of the trailer.
Well, why?
Exactly. I don't know.
I'll be really annoyed if they bring him back.
But
this is it, like you
that's
say.
the question that overhangs this franchise. Why?
Yeah. It was fun.
But no, if you say that, if they do make apologies for all these kind of mistakes, then that's maybe potentially going to make it bad.
We'll see.
So we'll see.
You got anything?
No, that was it for me. Thanks.
Okay. There's a new film about Bob Fosse coming out soon.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So, because I know Laurie, you're a fan of all that jazz, which I'm as well.
I'm a massive fan of Bob Fosse, and All That Jazz is a beautiful film. Lenny's an amazing film. He did Sweet Charity, was it? Again, amazing film. Fosse, an amazing character. And yeah, that sounds cool.
You got anything else?
I have. Obviously, there's a little show I really recommend. Game of
Throws.
Yeah, Game of Throws, something like that. Definitely worth
Gnome
checking.
of Throws.
Gnome, that's it. That's going to start in a minute. So
I bet you they make Game of Gnomes.
They probably
They've
have.
done them and Juliet and all that
Yeah,
stuff, wouldn't they? They should do. That'd be
Game
great.
of Gnomes.
Yeah.
That sounds like one of those adult titles of when they spoof it, like Shaving.
Yeah.
Game of Gnomes.
Okay, the other trailer that I caught this week is the new trailer for the Joker film that's coming out.
Yes. Yeah, this is Joaquin Phoenix, isn't it?
It is.
How does it look? I haven't seen it.
Well, it looks good, and I've read the comic that it's based on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Have you not?
No, well, what one was it based on?
Well, I don't know.
What's the name of the comic?
I don't know.
The story?
I've read it ages ago. It's about him. It's about a guy who's a comedian, who's a failed comedian.
The Killing Joke. It's based on The Killing Joke.
Oh
is
yeah,
it?
probably.
Oh wow! So that was written by Alan Moore, The Killing Joke. That got me into the Batman comics. Really, really
But
good.
is it? So there was a load of stuff I read an article in the press recently that DC movies have finally kind of thrown the towel in on their darkness. Because you know originally their movies. Okay, we're a slightly darker version.
Yeah,
that's kind of the comic as well.
Yeah, that's the point. So they were trying to emulate the comics, which is slightly darker, but Marvel are killing it from a monetary perspective.
Yeah,
and DC
always
have just tripped and stumbled and have never managed to get any. The films that should be brilliant, Suicide Squad and stuff like that, are shit.
Yeah.
So apparently, with I'm sure I've seen it, but I can't remember any of it. Aquaman and Wonder Woman, they kind of went a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And apparently, they've now kind of gone. Well, they've grossed the most, so let's just stick with that.
Yeah.
So they're going to go
Here's
light-hearted.
the-
So
here's-
this is a DC one, right?
Yeah.
But it looks dark as shit.
Well,
as much
that's
as I've
what I
seen
was
it.
going to
Tips
ask.
for DC. Why don't they make films for kids about superheroes?
Wow.
Yeah.
We need to write into them.
All right, so just I've got a question for you. Who is your definitive Joker? So I've got the Jokers. Everyone has played the Joker, I
Go
think. So we've got Cesar Romero, who was in the TV series,
Right.
who famously refused to
Shave
cut off his
moustache.
moustache.
Chuck white paint all over it.
Jack Nicholson, obviously. Heath Ledger, Jared Leto, and then I'm going to count Mark Hamill because he does the voice.
Does the voice in the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
computer games.
Yeah.
So go on.
That's a good shout. He's under the animated series as well.
So it's difficult because they all portray their Joker within the universe that's created within their film or TV.
But
right?
don't get too...
So they're all very different.
Yeah. Come on.
I really like Heath Ledger's.
Okay.
Right, mine's... Okay, what one made me...
Come on.
Wake,
Don't take too long.
Wake
Come on,
in a
come on.
cold...
Come on, hurry up, hurry up.
Hector.
What one made me wake in a cold sweat, screaming, petrified, terrified
Jose
of even
Ramirez.
just thinking of the face? Is Cesar Romero. 100%.
Really?
Yeah,
Absolutely terrified.
He was good.
He looks like
As-
the kind
as
of
a kid.
terrify children.
Heath Ledger, it's just a little bit, it's kind of obvious in that realm of sad,
Well, I'm going to
Psychopath.
but great.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Jack Nicholson then.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good spread.
Because
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. That's my first proper memory of
Yeah.
the Joker. And it
Yeah.
was like, wow, I
Yeah.
love Jack Nicholson.
One last little bit of news.
Yeah.
We're on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
we are.
I'm thinking, are we?
Some wonderful, I don't know, gnome or whatever must have sneaked in while we were sleeping. They've stuck us on the YouTube.
Yeah, not our faces, thankfully.
Yes.
Just our voices.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a shame.
We might do a live episode, well, record a video episode one day.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I have noticed though, they probably need to put the actual names of the films that we're reviewing on rather than the title of our episode.
I don't actually put anything on there. It all does
It's
it
the
automatically
names.
through the podcast.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's another way to listen. But obviously, if you're listening, you're already listening, so it's pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's go for In the Beam. Yeah. All right, Laurie, go on, kick us off.
I can't. You have to come back to me.
Are
Wait
you
a
going to
minute.
watch something in the next 3 minutes?
Yeah. Just leave it with me. I've just got to turn my necklace 3 times.
Okay, Wyndham.
So, I have, and I know the rules, and I'm about to break them, sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
don't break it,
So,
'cause I've got 3
I recently have been on a few aeroplanes, and on one of them, I watched a film called American Hangman. It is a Donald Sutherland film. He's kind of like the main dude, and essentially, he is kidnapped. He wakes up in a basement, chained up, next to another guy who he doesn't know, also chained up. There are loads of cameras pointing at them.
This is like Saw.
You sure it's
isn't
not Saw?
I am sure it's not Saw, yeah. So there's loads of cameras pointing at them, and then their abductor comes in and is
Lies
kind
down
of
and pretends to be
posing them all these questions. They've both got newspapers, and they're reading different headlines, and there's one headline that is the same in both of their papers, and it relates to a trial and execution of somebody who's abducted a little girl a few years ago. And it is essentially the story that you find out that Donald Sutherland was the judge in that case, and the abductor it puts him on trial via social media and gets people. He reviews the case and the actions the judge has taken to get to the conviction, and basically says, well, in this state we have the death penalty, so presumably if you're found to be material in the death of this convicted person, then you also are guilty of murder, and therefore I will impose the state penalty on you. And it's one of those films that I really like the concept, really like a couple of the performances in it. I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
I think it's worth a watch.
I've been checking out some of your reviews recently. I was quite impressed with, can't remember now,
I do notice you watched Venom though.
Yeah, I didn't hate Venom.
Having said it's fucking shit, I don't trust Venom. I'm going to go and watch
I
it.
didn't hate it.
Good
I
on
thought
you,
the
son.
end was terrible.
Yeah.
I thought he was over the top.
Yeah,
But it was quite... There were bits of it I quite liked.
fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, American Hangman. It's
Okay.
worth a bit of a watch.
All right. I've got 3, but I am going to just choose one. And it's going to be a film I watched just last night, and it's called Afterlife. And
I don't want to know that.
it's got Liam Neeson in it, Christina Ricci, and someone else.
Oh my god, this is not the one where it's all a bit weird and he's...
Right. It's about basically Christina Ricci.
Justin Long is in it, isn't it?
That's the one. It's she's in a car accident.
Yeah.
And she wakes up on the mortuary slab.
That's it.
And basically the premise of the film is you don't know if it's all an elaborate hoax or she's actually dead. And all the way through I kept going, no, she's dead. No, it's a hoax. No, she's dead. And right to the end. So just on that alone, you know.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember
but
there
It
being
maintains
very...
that suspense
all the
through to
way through
Oh,
it.
brilliant.
All the way, every time you think, no, it's definitely a hoax, and you think, oh, hold on a minute. Yeah. So yeah, it's kept me guessing.
Yeah. Life enriching.
Yeah, so it was all right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a no, but it's
Yeah,
worth a watch.
okay. I
Life
was being a twit. I'm looking for twit.
twat.
Yes.
So what have you covered in the last 5 minutes?
Oh, right. So yeah, I've gone back in time. I'm going to bring Twin Peaks: The Return. Apologies, it's not a film, so
You're allowed to bring those things.
I don't think I am really, am I? But
Have
yeah,
you watched it in the last month?
Yeah.
yeah, I've been watching.
Well,
I've been
then you
chewing
can
it. Been chewing it.
Do you like it?
It's a wonderful gift. David Lynch and his beautiful words and narratives and strange linear whatever the hell it is. He's just brought it all together. So you've got a Razorhead in there, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, Twin Peaks itself. It's just a beautiful gift. He's not given us an obvious, okay, we're going straight back to Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
He's
I
given us
I did miss
that and more.
but
So much more.
there was a lot about it that I liked very much.
It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
It's
And I
slow.
think you have to, I think you have to kind of consume it slowly as well. I don't think you can really binge watch it. You've got to, just eat it all up. It's just wonderful.
It's a but I thought it was supposed to be like one really long film.
I think that's a good call.
Great.
And Carl McLaughlin is amazing in it.
He is very good.
Absolutely spectacular. So I'll put that in the bin.
All right.
Cool.
All right, let's go on the rocks then.
Love on the rocks, ain't no surprise.
So again, I had a couple to choose from. I am going to plump for The Predator, the remake.
Oh right,
Right,
okay, yeah.
okay.
Well, not the remake.
The new version.
Predator.
Yeah.
Again, I was on a very long series of flights, so I was sitting there. And part of me was thinking, am I being overly harsh because I'm evidently watching the very edited version?
Oh right.
And so it's the kind of thing where you know on aeroplanes they tend to edit language quite heavily.
I'll do
So a
that.
little bit
No,
like
no.
I never knew
yeah.
that.
So it's full of ridiculous little kind of faux, crappy somebody in a room somewhere making something up and dropping it over the top of the soundtrack. Do you remember years and years ago that Die Hard 2 was on ITV?
Right.
And there's a famous yippee-ki-yay motherfucker.
Was it a Thursday?
It was a Thursday, yeah. But there's that famous line in it. It's kind of go yippee-ki-yay motherfucker, and they had edited it to yippee-ki-yay Kemosabe. And this version of The Predator was full of stuff like that. But fundamentally, underneath it, I just don't think it's very good. I think it is entirely reliant on people going like I did, going, well, I loved Predator.
Yeah.
I'm going to ignore all the other Predator. Predator 2 was pretty good. All the more recent ones, and I'm going to go, okay, come on. This is the guy who was in it. This is the guy who helped write it. Come on. You can give us the next Predator that we need. And he didn't.
And Arnie's not in it, is he?
No.
And I think, certainly in the 80s, he brought that magic to a film. That
kind of
you could watch him do anything but shit and just go.
Yeah. So yeah, The Predator, it's just not very good.
Okay. Right,
Not surprised.
I am going to go for Pet Sematary, the new release.
Oh,
yeah.
there we are.
Well, I had high hopes for it, and maybe I was in the wrong frame of mind, and I did only get through 40 minutes of it.
Crikey.
Wow.
Because in fairness, I was at Universal Studios in Orlando, and I was waiting for the karaoke bar to open.
Oh, dear, I've got to sing Green.
They sent me away. So I got there, got there about 7:30, had a strawberry daiquiri, which I'd had for years, and then I went to the karaoke bar and I went, I'm sorry, it's not open till 9. It's like, oh, what did I do? It's like, oh, Pet Cemetery's on, I'll go watch that.
So you're saying it wasn't good enough to keep you to the end of the film and singing
Right.
karaoke dream?
So the problem is, it's doing this thing that worked very well with it, but not so much I thought with this. Let's bring loads of other things to the table. We'll kind of keep the book, but we'll change loads of elements about it. And then what else do we need? Oh, let's get some freaky kids in Wicker Man masks for no reason. Let's have a load of, boring backstory.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you look at the original book and the original movie, and you get they serve this is a very Stephen King thing, right? And less is always a bit more with Stephen King.
Yeah.
And then in all these kind of modern remakes, they kind of go, well, we actually can't make it better, so let's just add shit.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. It was just filling it full of horror movie tropes. And it's like, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I want to go and sing Creep.
So, I'm still in awe of the way that you can walk out of stuff. You're really good at that. But I mean, I heard
I've been to see a couple of things with James, and he just periodically just gets up and walks out. So it's like he needs a break. And then he comes back 5 minutes later and he goes, no, I'm fine now.
But I was out at the market and I bumped into To Rant and Rave, the Sylvester Winkler, and he was quite excited about it as well.
Right.
I had no idea what
No, he's a great guy.
Okay.
He knows his stuff. And he looks great in a Sylvester. But no, he's a massive Stephen King fan, really loves Pet Sematary, the book.
You're talking about Terry here?
Yeah. To Rant and Rave. No? Okay, fine.
Hi Terry, I know he listens.
Yeah. And
we're not talking about my cat, are we?
Might be.
He enjoyed it. He did enjoy it. He said it was pretty good. And, obviously I cred his creds because he loves the King.
Do you not cred my creds?
I do cred your creds.
What are you going to do then?
I say you should have stayed till the end.
I think you should watch
No, I said, what are you going to do? What did I do?
I'm going to start doing 20 push-ups a day. And there's a particular way of doing it that addresses the
What's
fat
your
back.
on the rocks?
Nothing.
Oh, good. Good. Right, so let's get on with the main feature. 1992.
1992.
So, do you realise none of us knew each other in 1992?
I do realise.
There were the days.
It's 96. We you and I met in 96.
Yes.
And I would have met you.
Don't remember the day when I met.
A couple of years after that.
Yeah.
Well, no, you were like
98,
halls of
99.
residence in it, and I would have been lingering around.
Yeah, but we never
knocking
knew
on
you.
Deborah's
I
window.
didn't know you.
Have you ever known me?
I don't feel like I know you now.
Touch
it's
me.
a journey I'm excited to continue.
Who's got a little bit confused and scared? Okay, so I'm going to give you some information about 1992.
Okay.
In the news, Bill Clinton became president.
He did not have sexual relations with that woman.
And that was the worst thing he did compared to other presidents.
Actually not good on him.
Not sure about that. But
Well,
it was a
alright,
bad thing he did.
Okay.
Not sure it was the worst thing.
Alright. In the UK, I didn't know this. I don't
For
know what I
Monica
was doing
Lewinsky,
at
it was
the
the worst thing he did, definitely. But I think in general he did other things.
In the UK, there was rioting by local youth. I was a local youth. I wasn't rioting. Were you rioting?
What were they writing about?
In Bristol. Don't know.
Yeah, Bristol's a hotbed for writing.
Yeah. Probably.
Is it writing or writing?
They were definitely rioting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, pop culture. Right, so the first nicotine patch was introduced.
Is that pop culture?
Apparently so. And Euro Disney opened.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's still going as well.
It's now called Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is that because Americans fell out of love with Europe? Or
possibly, or maybe the French aren't as European as they
well,
like
because
to
they had
think.
freedom fries for a while when France refused to back some of their wars. They were
They've been doing that for years.
Swapped out from French fries because the French wouldn't back, and they called them freedom fries.
Freedom fries. Okay, on television, El Dorado started.
El Dorado.
And probably finished. It lasted about a year, and I was a big fan of El Dorado.
Can you drop the theme tune?
But when you go away, you gotta tell me where you're going to, so I can dream I'll see you
Abfab started,
Right.
and Coronation Street was top of the charts. In music, okay, so Shakespeare's Sister was at number 4 and highest rated.
Dave.
And Would I Lie to You, Charles and Eddie, which I fucking hate.
Oh.
I
See,
hate
the
it.
thing is with Charles and Eddie, I can't remember. I can't. Is it Charles that does all the work?
It's like having them in the room.
So basically, what you were doing there, you were doing Charles, weren't you?
I don't know.
And you said, "Would I lie to you? I would never do this," and all that. And then fucking Eddie turns up, going, "Oh yeah," it ruins it for him.
And Rhythm as a Dancer. Didn't like that either. Did you like that one? And but the highest grossing song of the year was "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston.
Well, there we are. But behind all of these hit songs, there was the wave of indie music was getting stronger and stronger. You know, like bands like Pulp and Blur, and so if you actually really cared about music that was, you would get, you know, My Bloody Valentine, which we mentioned on the show before. These bands were like getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then not soon after 92, it really popped, and this strange thing happened that all these obscure bands, indie music, became popular.
I think the album's reflective of that. Is that number 1? It was Stars by Simply Red.
Oh, I can't remember it. I was going to do Stars in Their Eyes.
Right, who died? Okay, Benny
Hill.
Benny Hill died.
Oh.
Marlena Dietrich. And Anthony Perkins.
They are.
Psycho.
Oh, Anthony Perkins.
Yeah. Top 5 grossing films: Lethal Weapon 3, Basic Instinct, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, The Bodyguard, and anyone care to guess the top one?
92, Silence of the Lambs.
No.
Robin Hood.
We've done Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, it was nice.
Don't know.
Aladdin.
Oh, right, okay.
They've remade Aladdin as well, you see, with live action. With Will Smith as the genie. Apparently, people of our generation are not impressed.
I think people of our generation are just not impressed generally now.
Yeah, I think that's it.
You've got Robin Williams to deal with, haven't you, really?
Alright, so just in a minute, let's just quickly talk about the films that got away last month. So, Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me. I really like that film. We can't really give it justice.
I think I deliberately didn't choose it because it was one of my things, and I think maybe if we've got in your ball bag the opportunity to maybe get into the Twinks world, maybe we could do that, or maybe it's a David Lynch thing. I don't know, but I deliberately
absolutely. And Tetsuo, the Body Hammer. Anyone know anything about this?
Yeah,
you've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It was only when we.
I just want to say Tetsuo.
It was only when I listened to the episode that we referenced the prequel to Tetsuo earlier in the Japanese film.
Look how good we are.
Completely accidental.
Yeah. True.
Go on.
It's kind of you kind of get it, and it happens. There's some great scenes. It's arty, and it's almost like you're watching a music video that goes on a little bit too long. So I deliberately didn't give it to us.
Fair dues.
All right. Okay, so let's get on with our first choice, which is Brain Dead. Okay, so it was released in 1992, directed by Peter Jackson.
Have we had a little trailer?
Not yet, I'm going to do it after this bit.
Does it after the intro?
Fucking hell. Screenplay by Fran Walsh, Stephen Sinclair and Peter Jackson. It wasn't from a novel. Music by Peter Dasson. Box office, it took $1.6 million US. Didn't win any awards, no sequels or spin-offs, and I suppose Timothy Balm plays Lionel, Diana Penalva plays Paquita, and Elizabeth Moody plays the mum.
And in the US, it was known as Dead Alive.
Yes,
Dead Alive.
It was indeed. All right, so shall we have a clip?
On this picturesque block, in this manicured home, something evil, something terrifying, something horrifying is haunting Lionel. His mother.
I thought I told you to spray this house. The place is infested with vermin.
Although she was a little strict,
Look at this dust. It's an inch thick.
he never wished her any harm.
You look after me like...
Until
Your mother's dead, Lionel.
now, whatever Mom's got
Who's your mother?
has caught on with the neighbors.
It took 11 weeks to shoot this film.
Yeah.
So quite short.
And he had budget left over.
He
Yeah.
did.
So it's 3 minutes. We have you all read the Wikipedia page.
Well, he blew that budget on
On
the
the park scene.
the park scene.
Yeah.
Which is his favourite scene.
Well,
Okay.
it's a good scene, actually.
So, Laurie,
Yeah.
give us a synopsis.
Oh shit! Oh, I didn't prepare myself for this. Right, let's go. So you're on Skull Island, all right? Turns out to be King Kong's island. A couple of guys are running. They've got a box on their shoulders. They're being chased. Turns out in the box there's a...
Right, stop. That is not the synopsis. That's the whole film. You're running the film in your head.
Yeah.
You can see it with it.
So the
Don't mention
New
you're not allowed
Zealand Zoo Association sends somebody off to Skull Island to get a rare rat monkey for their collection. Said monkey comes back, and the mother of our lead character, Lionel, is spying on him, gets bitten by the monkey, and turns into an undead zombie type character. And the story is about Lionel trying to manage the growing expanse of zombies without being found out.
Brilliant.
Well done, actually.
Very
It's
good.
really quite
Well,
good.
you said the same things every week. You're always surprised that he does it right and you do it
Quite
wrong.
good, yeah.
All right, so
Any
disclaimer,
lessons?
I really don't like Peter Jackson. And I thought I found Lord of the Rings incredibly boring. I thought that King Kong was a
So
drag.
the Lord of the Rings. Have you read Tolkien?
Yes, loved it.
Tolkien.
Okay, interesting.
I thought there was
they're quite.
no emotional contact. I
What?
don't think you can create drama through character. I think he's very specific. It looks right, but it doesn't seem to have a soul.
Doesn't hit you emotionally.
Yeah.
I did find emotion in Lord of the Rings. However,
Come on, Mr. Frodo, you can do it.
Yeah, it was
I
Samwise
didn't buy
Gamgee.
I
It
didn't
was.
buy any of it. I don't know.
I
Anyway,
think you've got a point there, though. There is something you're touching on there for
saying
sure.
that, this was his early work, and I thought I went in this. I didn't think I'd seen it, and then I could remember so many different parts. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I've definitely seen this film.
When do you think you saw it first?
I can't remember. I cannot. I haven't. I really did. Well, do you know?
Well, I was trying to figure this out, and I think it was your wife, Laurie, who told me about it. So it would have been at uni,
Probably.
just after uni, and I'm sure it was her. She said you have to watch this film. So I would have seen it about 20.
Do you think
to
we
22
watched
years
it
ago.
together?
I have no idea.
No,
don't know.
do I.
But
I like
similarly,
to think you did.
I knew I'd seen it before, and I remembered two scenes I remembered up in front of watching it again, and then like you, every scene was like, oh yeah, oh yeah.
The bit with the custard.
Yes,
It was
Oh.
like I'd watched
Creamy
it yesterday.
custard.
It was
Yeah.
like yeah.
It is proper. It's supposed to turn your stomach a bit, isn't it? It's a grotesque,
Oh my god.
gory.
Yeah.
But it's called splatstick as opposed
Oh,
to
is it?
slapstick.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so it's splatstick comedy.
So with a VHS for this film, actually, I think in Australia they'd give you a free vomit bag with the VH rental.
That's a massive.
That's kind of sweet.
When
yeah.
did you first see it?
So it was back to that same night when I watched Dawn of the Dead for the first time. So there's Graham Leafon.
On the same night.
Suppressed. Well, Graham Leafon was suppressed. You know, he was a kid. He wasn't
I
allowed
thought you
to
said
watch
you were
Star
watching that
Wars.
when you were 8.
Look back. No, what?
Graham, you were saying? I thought that was when you were kids.
Yeah, well, we were sort of teenies. I didn't say we were kids. Listen back. I did
Teenies?
not say we were kids.
Is that what you used to call yourself, teenagers?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, same night. So Graham Leafon, starved of film in his youth, and then obviously he just flourished the minute he could actually get his hands on film. So he gave us Dawn of the Dead that night, and then straight after he put in Brain Dead. And my wife, quite a lot later to become my wife, was there with us as well. And we absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
It was just, everything about it was just fantastic.
And it does build as well, doesn't it? You start off by going, oh, that's a bit and then the next it's like, oh shit, that's a bit
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god, and
It's
then at the end
just-
you go, he's got nowhere to go. Oh yeah, he has, okay,
Yeah.
It's the gift that just keeps on giving.
It's hilarious.
Hugely enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's hilarious,
Yeah.
and you've got that whole sort of Python, farcical, comedic romp about it. Every single bit of it.
Yeah.
All right, difficult
This
question.
man
now.
keeps going that way.
Is it racist?
In the one, so I've actually got one of my first. Are you talking about when they're on Skull Island?
Yeah.
So I've actually made a note of the accents of the guys on Skull Island. Back in '92, so we're talking nearly 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
say
Yeah,
that.
it's approaching 25 years.
Yeah.
25, 30 years ago. Much as I hate that, it was a different time. Yes, I think it probably is.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got an answer. No, it's not. There you go.
Can you back that up? I think it is. I think the first bit's definitely racist.
What? Just the singer?
It's not just that.
It's not just that. It's this
Bearing
is
in
how.
mind, this is coming from the guy who was doing the impressions last month. So.
Oh, right, blooming
Yeah.
hell. It's not.
Anyway, I think the first bit is.
I think
but-
racism's got to have notes of maliciousness, isn't it?
Or indifference to reality.
Oh,
I think if you're being
yeah.
deliberate, if you're just being ignorant through and,
Yeah.
and for your own
Or
amusement.
relying on
All
a
right.
stereotype.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
When I say you, I don't mean you.
Well, we're not going to.
Anyway,
Felt like
this
it.
isn't a discussion on racism.
Absolutely. Okay, so right, well, let's try and get to the plot.
Let's go.
Okay, so it's quite a clear story. I mean, there is a very good story there. I think.
Yeah.
Do we like the story?
Fucking love the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you've got the like beautiful, geeky Lionel. Just, you know, obviously you've got this narcissistic mother. Just.
It's really there were two things in that first kind of 5-10 minutes that I thought in the Skull Island bit. I'm thinking Indiana Jones, inspired by Indiana, with the aeroplane bit when he's coming back.
Yes.
Yeah,
The bit where he goes
beautiful
from map to
miniatures.
map, really nice miniatures, and then with the Psycho-esque relationship between.
Yeah.
Mother
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
I saw him. I could just imagine watching Dawn of the Dead and being inspired by that and wanting to make his homage to that. I
Yeah.
thought that was very.
And when you obviously
Yeah.
when you get to the end, the whole Evil Dead like
Yeah, I was very Evil Dead.
cranked up.
Yeah. Set in the 50s, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Or
couldn't
60s
tell,
maybe.
I couldn't tell to begin with whether the trams were real or not.
No, they're not. So that's these miniatures.
But not all of them are miniatures. are
Not all of them. Obviously, the one that Lionel jumps onto.
they? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been quite tricky. But the majority of all the other shots that you get, are miniatures. And with what he did with Lord of the Rings, where, you know, obviously you've got the scale of a hobbit and a normal person. He did a lot of that sort of.
2 rooms.
Well, yeah, like one's really close in the foreground, one's really further back, but it seems like they're standing next to each other. But he does a lot of that in this film, where he's brought the tram right up close to the shot, but you see the town as well behind it with the cars going past. Beautiful, clever stuff. But obviously, you know, when you first see the rat zombie monkey as well, that's proper animated stop motion.
Yeah.
So there's a wonderful
We'll get on to the effects in a bit,
texture
I
of this
think.
film. That's what I'm saying. Is just there's loads of.
Well, for me, I thought it was like a grotesque punk comic strip.
Grotesque is entirely. I've got grotesque there
Yeah.
as well. It is
But
a cast of grotesque.
Yes, it's cut, and I think it wouldn't have worked if it wasn't so funny.
In fact, really, the only 2 characters in it that aren't of any Lionel and Bakita aren't.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is an inflated caricature. Most of them grotesque caricatures of whatever they're trying to portray. It's good.
Lionel and Paquita are still quite inflated in their own little way, though, aren't they?
Yeah, but not in the same way as
Yeah.
Uncle Les or
the
the mother or what.
So let's have a look at these performances then. So I thought Lionel was very good.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Just, you know, and again...
He's very physical. He's good physically.
Well,
Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, but...
When he's...
Were we convinced with the baby bit?
But that's exactly, it's perfect.
I mean, let's talk about the baby.
Yeah.
Let's jump into...
Because
Because...
one of the most disturbing bits of it for me. It's like a proper Bash Street Kid baby on
Yes!
crack
Yeah,
that's
garbage
been left
pail,
in a ditch.
toxic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got the puppet baby, you've got a man dressed up as a baby, and then you've just got the rubber baby.
Smack against swings. The baby comes about because there's this really, really cool scene where Lionel's in the graveyard and there's a couple of punks pissing on his mum's grave or whatever because he's there to dig it up, and this priest comes along and turns out he's a kung fu master.
One of the best lines in the film.
I kick ass for the Lord. And he does some serious shit. But anyway, the priest gets fucked up, unfortunately. Sorry, that's a spoiler. But he comes back home and gets it on with the nurse. I think it's fair to say that we
spoil all the films that we review.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
But him and the nurse have this beautiful, it has this grotesque baby.
Yeah. So the nurse has been killed by the mother previously, and she's turned into a zombie.
Yeah.
And essentially, anytime anybody gets turned into a zombie, Lionel sees the need to put them in his basement. You get the feeling that he doesn't want people to find out.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably because of the overbearing relationship with his mother. Appearance, she's like a really grotesque Mrs. Bouquet.
Yeah. Yes.
And therefore, he's got his mother, the nurse, the priest, and the head punk who the priest has turned, who the mother has turned into zombies, all in his basement. As you say, the nurse and the priest get it on, and then 3 minutes later, this grotesque little zombie baby appears.
Yeah, it doesn't stop, does it? What do we think about the grandmother? Good performance again, played by
the grandmother,
not mother. Sorry, his mother.
Oh,
sorry.
Elizabeth Moody.
Yeah,
she's horrible.
It's the WLWL. Probably my favourite line.
Yeah.
She is blinding.
She is brilliant.
Again, very jarring when it goes from her to stunt mum.
Yeah,
you could really tell. And when they just forget her altogether, and it's just a man in a wig, really. Yeah, but it's really noticeable.
But it almost does. It doesn't feel like it matters.
Not really. It feels like it's a load of students throwing making something really good together.
And actually, that is one of the things that I was kind of put in mind of. It feels really low rent.
Yeah.
But the effects are brilliant.
It's brilliant.
And it is just really nicely made. It's a really good film.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And that's back to that sort of texture thing that I'm talking about. There's so many beautiful elements. I mean, even like the opening, kind of, once you've had that initial sort of monkey bit and then you see the miniature plane coming in, the music kicks in. Whatever it is. But it reminds me of that whole quality of Terry Gilliam. You know, that sort of Brazil... that Python, Terry Gilliam...
guerrilla filmmaking sort of stuff.
Oh, it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
So just on the music, God, how many times have we heard that bloody love theme? But then that became a joke, didn't it, towards the end?
Gling, 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 gling.
And the Archers was in there.
There was.
Somebody's doing that.
Yeah.
How do we find the music? Like it?
Brilliant. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And it plays out, it just nails the scenes perfectly. So again, there's one bit where Paquita and Lionel on their first sort of courting date at the zoo.
And they make the good decision to kiss in front of the monkeys.
Yeah.
Which clearly they'd have just thrown shit all over them.
Yeah. But the quality of the film suddenly changes to like old... It's a little bit too fast, his hair's flapping in the wind, it's just... Oh, delicious. Such a good film.
He's much better on that first date than... I would have been led to believe by his portrayal of his character up to that point. You'd think he's on it. He's good. They've met this kind of connection, even though it's tarot reading inspired by Paquita's grandmother.
I mean, he is Ash from The Evil Dead, isn't he? Yeah. Basically, that's who he's based on.
I like the mix of Paquita's family actually. So she's Spanish, as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
and then she's got a French nan, and then a Greek dad. So it's kind of cool. I like that.
Maybe that's how you get Spanish.
Yeah, but you know when we okay. Oh yeah.
It's not like how do you get blue.
Okay, just on the grandmother, it annoyed me a bit. They didn't bother to use a full deck of cards for the tarots. Did you notice when she's shuffling, there's about 12. And then, when they're dealing, there's an awful lot more.
You're a tarot expert.
Yeah,
that deck, though, apparently that deck, Aleister Crowley?
Yeah.
The very famous occultist?
Yeah, the most evil man in Britain, they called him in 1956.
That's it. With the exception of 2 cards, which I think was the Star and the Black Knight, that pack was the Aleister Crowley tarot pack.
Mm. Okay, so, camera work.
Brilliant.
Bit shaky.
Oh, piss off.
I do love the fact that when you love a film, everything's brilliant.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, I like what they were doing, because they shot a lot of it from a low angle, didn't they? And they used wide-angle lenses to make it look warped and all that kind of stuff. But it was kind of thrown together, the camera work.
Oh, no. You've got that kind of sort of guerrilla feel about it, but he's just so inventive. I mean, like, the head, that gets chopped off by the uncle. He uses the garden shears, and you've got like that half a head, and it's sliding across the floor, and you're seeing all these different angles. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. There's like top shots when you see the guts coming down after Lionel down the spiral thing. Okay, amazing. Brilliant. I think it's inventive and great. There you go.
That sold me.
Yeah.
All right, so come on, effects then. So we got some stop motion, which I thought worked quite well, really.
I'm not gonna. It's brilliant.
Oh, shit. It is good. No, it is good. It's kind of Ray Harryhausen-esque, and in that, if you think back to Clash of the Titans or whatever his original one was, what was it? Jason the Argonauts, all that kind of stuff. It's proper. It's good. Yeah. And I like when you kind of go back to these films. I like that kind of, okay, we've now gone to this different technique. Yeah. And the fact that it clearly isn't real is brilliant.
But it's so good. Yeah, and I much prefer it, and I can work out why for ages, and now I think I've just decided why I prefer real things to CGI, because real things are made by a human. Whereas you're putting in a program or a formula to a computer.
Which is still a skill. To get it to do what you want it to do.
Yeah, and look how you accounting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we all need accountants. Well, we don't all need them.
Where does counting come into this?
Because if you're good on a computer, you can make a dragon.
Yes.
But is it going to have as much soul as a dragon you make?
Absolutely not. It's all about it's the physicality. It's the way that light will fall on it. Your eye knows it's a lie. So a model is a real, tangible thing that's being photographed.
I wish you'd listened to the first part when we were talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is just come in at the end of it and then repeat what I've said.
I'm sorry, babes.
It's all right. Okay, anything else anyone want to talk about?
Yeah, so I think some of the lines in this are...
Yeah, I've got...
Absolutely.
I'll finish with the
we're going to finish with that. Okay.
we do the same thing every time.
Memorable
scenes.
Memorable scenes.
Memorable scenes. Obviously, the priest bit. That's fucking awesome. But there's absolutely so many. I suppose when it really kicks off, where you got everything just goes nuts because the uncle's basically invited all his mates over to the house. Yeah. The zombies, obviously, they've managed to break out, and everyone's getting nailed. So there's just so many brilliant bits. There's a bit where a girl, she's noticing something's going on. She's just about to say something, and then suddenly this fist just smashes out of her head. Yeah, and it's the punk guys just smashed it.
I mean, that's all really inventive. I love the girl that becomes a light.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
I'd love to have that as a light. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I completely agree. That's brilliant. He's put the uncle's putting the guy through the mangle, and he's got a gnome shoved into his neck. His guts.
All right, Laurie.
Yeah,
I want you to tell me. Yeah. What you have to answer this. Okay. To think of something. What you didn't like about the film.
There's a little tiny lull. Wait for it. There's a little tiny lull that happens when the uncle. Well, oh shit! Basically, when the uncle turns up, and there's like the funeral bit. It's a tiny little lull, but then it picks up again.
Okay.
Most memorable scene for me, the lawnmower scene.
Oh, at the end.
So, all these zombies have been created in the house post Les's party.
Yes.
And then Lionel is desperately trying to save Bakita. And the only way to attack this many zombies is to pick up his lawnmower, fire it up, and just walk through all these and it's one of those scenes that just goes on and on. Essentially, it's the same thing for what feels like 10 minutes. It's just zombies getting splattered by this.
The sound is great.
And he just walks through them, and there's he turns around, and there's like parting of the Dead Sea, whatever. Yeah. And so he then realised, we have to go back. So he kind of walks back through it. It is brilliant.
I'll tell you what, for the time they took to make it. And
11 weeks.
Yeah, and the budget, which I think was $3 million. I've got a feeling, apparently.
The special effects in this are just... I think the amount that's in it.
The amount that they did is...
and even the bits where... when one of the couple of the zombies, when he's kind of killing all the zombies, there's one who ends up having the skin removed from its head.
Yes.
And you get just a bloody skull.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy who is being pulled through like a waiter's hatch.
Yeah.
And somehow he loses all of the flesh of his legs.
Apart from his boots.
Apart from his boots.
And he's still moving his legs.
But it's brilliant. It looks amazing.
All
Absolutely
right,
amazing.
so we got 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it was a professional poll of horror films. Time Out did, and it came 91. So that's pretty good. All right, memorable lines. I've got one. Someone says right at the start of it, "This is you've got the bite. There's some devil in the Jeep."
Yeah. I've got your mother ate my dog.
Yes.
Not all of it.
Which I believe was actually the title of the film in Spain. It translates to "Your mother ate my dog."
And have you got a favourite memorable line?
I think I can't.
All right.
WL.
Yeah,
That was good. And there's also there were a couple of little
That's
bits.
my mother you're pissing on.
Yeah. There were a couple of little bits that there's a bit where the mother dies and she's at the bottom of the stairs and Lionel's holding her. The nurse is on the phone trying to get the ambulance, and Lionel goes, "Nurse McCarthy," or whatever her name is, and she turns around and she just comes over and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, there was nothing we could do." And it's like, well, you didn't try to do anything, to be fair.
Yeah.
You've just fortuitously allowed that but it was just that kind of, there's nothing we could do. You haven't done anything.
Rich, creamy custard.
All right.
Just the way I like it.
Let's go.
And how was the rat monkey? How did it come about? How was it spawned?
Something else came over and raped all the little
All right, a giant rats got off the boat and raped all the tree monkeys.
That's it.
Right, should we score it?
Yeah.
Okay, performances. Laurie.
8.
Win.
Ooh, 6.
7. Effects. Win.
Effects 8.
9.
9.
Plot. 8.
7.
6.
Rewatch factor. Laurie.
8.
Ooh, bloody hell. 4.
8. Direction. Win.
6.
8.
8. Shit.
Cinematography. Laurie.
Shit. 7.
6.
5. Sound of music. Wyndham.
6.
6.
6.
Enjoyability. Originality. Laurie.
7.
6.
9. And enjoyability. 9.
8.
Ooh, 5.
And life-changing past or present. 2 for me.
None for me.
This was a big turn on to, again, that horror film. Same night as Dawn of the Dead, so I'm going to give it an 8. Jesus.
Crumbs.
Alright, so let's add up the scores. Apparently there's a whole new way to learn how to do maths these days.
Is that right? Is this where you draw little sticks and move them around? And
Apparently so, don't know.
oh, this is where you do those lines, isn't it?
Maths, I don't need to learn it. Yeah. Okay. Have we done it?
No, I've just decided to do a whole new way of doing maths, and I've really screwed myself up.
Win, what have we got?
53.
53, Laurie.
So out of 100, I need to minus 24, and that's my answer.
76.
That's 76.
And I've given it a 71.
It gives us a rating of 66.6 recurring until there's a 70.
Whoa!
66.6. So let's have a look where that puts it.
If you haven't seen it, go and watch it.
Definitely worth it.
Brain Dead is just right from the beginning. You'll be absolutely fine.
And then if you've enjoyed that, Bad Taste is another one you have to watch.
Yeah,
Uh,
Which is his other one.
Yeah,
that's the one that's much more lower budget, isn't
Yeah.
it? And it's very sort of New Zealand. One
Yeah.
I really want to see is Meet the Feebles. Where
no,
you
I've heard that's terrible.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So on our 2019 leaderboard, it ranks it in 4th place, just below Watch It Down, but ahead of Tales from the Crypt. And in our overall leaderboard, it is in 14th place. 15th place, I should say.
Betwixt.
Betwixt Watch It Down and Donnie Darko.
Oh, right, okay. Above Donnie Darko?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, should we move on?
Do that.
Choice number 2. Oh, what?
No, it's all right.
Go on.
I just realised I had another couple of pages of notes.
Oh, did you?
But this was about some of the the effects, the bit where the baby crawls out of Rita's head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go on.
It's just fucking hell. Rita's the only other woman at the party other than Bakita and Lionel who hasn't been turned into a zombie.
Yeah.
And then she gets bitten, and she's still trying to protect her, and Bakita's there, kind of going, Rita, what's wrong? And you see this kind of weirdness happening to her face, and then this grotesque baby just pulls her face in half.
It's fucking
And
brilliant.
crawls down. Anyway.
All right, so we're going to move on. Our second choice is the Candyman. All right.
Are you going to play a clip?
Yeah, I think so. In a minute. Look at him concentrated. What are you thinking about?
I'm actually, so we've been talking about Brain Dead, great fun, an amazing romp. Now we're talking about Candyman. I don't know why, I feel like I have to pause and wake up a bit.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't I give you a few facts and then we'll have a clip and you can pause during that time.
Yeah.
All right. Again, 92, obviously. Director Bernard Rose, screenplay by Bernard Rose, based on a novel, a short story, I should say, by Clive Barker called The Forbidden, which I have read in research for this book.
How short is it?
Really short. About 30 pages. Yeah. Music by Philip Glass. Box office 25.7 million. Ridiculously didn't win any awards. It was followed by 2 sequels, Candyman Farewell to the Flesh and Candyman Dead and Dead, and is regarded in critical circles as a contemporary classic of horror cinema. So we're saying about that. Virginia Madsen plays Helen Lyle, Tony Todd as Candyman, and Xander Barkley as Trevor Lyle. So let's have a clip.
Have you ever heard of Candyman? And if you look in the mirror, you say his name 5 times.
In cities everywhere,
Candyman?
they whisper his name.
Right. Candyman.
It's just a story.
Candyman?
Candyman.
Just a ghost story.
Candyman.
So what's that all about?
Don't know.
But I know what this is about.
What's this about?
One of the best films of all time, The Candyman.
So this was actually going to feature, if you got your golden ticket, you were going to pick this film, wouldn't you?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I was so pleased that you chose this. I just love this film. I went to see it at the cinema when it came out. Had a huge impact on my life. Life-changing, bang, way up there.
Yeah.
Because I watched every horror film going, more or less, growing up. And then I went to see this, and it felt like horror was moving on to the next level.
In what way?
Well, I loved it also because it starts, it opens like any traditional horror with the story and the babysitter, and you think, oh, it's just a run-of-the-mill thing.
Yeah.
And then it just subverts, and it's about race. It's
The
about
babysitter.
Yeah. So at the start, they're
Oh,
telling
the
the
babysitter.
story.
Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
And then you've got all the bits.
I think
So you've got
what
the
you
myth.
mean.
You've got the social division. You've got the class in society. You've got is she sane or insane? You've got the betrayal all going on.
It's
built
Clive
around
Barker through and through.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I think the bit that you're talking about, where it's like, whoa, this is a bit of a game changer here, is that bit where he first gets her and then she wakes up on the floor.
No,
in
it's
the
not.
bathroom.
But the bit it got me was when Helen Lyle's listening to the story and she takes a drag of a cigarette and inhales it through her nostril. I used to practice doing that for hours.
Yeah.
No, I can't stop smoking. So in preparation for this, I read the short story. It's called The Forbidden, and it's actually based in Liverpool.
Yeah. Where Clive Barker grew up, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it's very different. The film's very different, but it has got some elements. So it's got the graffiti. It's got Sweets to the Sweet, set on a council estate. Has a dinner party scene, and the Candyman turns up at the end. But it's hugely different. I think it benefits from that.
From being different.
Yes.
It's interesting because he was executive producer on the film, Clive Barker.
Uh-huh.
So I think you do get some of the... I haven't seen... So this was the first time I'd seen Candyman. I haven't seen it before.
Right.
But it did kind of... I did get that... If you watch Hellraiser, there's an essence of the similarity. Not in the film or anything like that, but just in the kind of feel and the undertones. And
yeah.
I think it's that there's a certain real violence, isn't there? There's a certain...
There's some real depth to it that kind of connects on a layer beyond the superficial.
Absolutely, and I think it's also taken... There's a real-life story about a woman called Ruthie Mae McCoy who lived in the Abbott Homes housing project in Chicago, and an intruder, she was murdered, I think, and an intruder came through the medicine cabinet.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
it's a bit close to the bone, isn't it?
And Eddie Murphy was considered for the role of the Candyman originally.
Thank God he didn't get that.
Yeah, thank God. Oh my God.
Tony Todd is perfect.
Do you think he'd have played all the parts?
Eddie Murphy. Just give me some prosthetics. I can play Helen Lyle, no problem.
And there was a concern at the time that it reflected racial stereotypes, which I completely disagree with.
No, I think it plays on them deliberately.
Well, it does play, yeah.
To show that, but not. I don't think it's trying to exploit them, other than to say this is how Chicago is.
Yeah, we all steal that. We all on drugs.
Yeah.
I think it's more like that.
That was
like,
America's perception, right? Or the media's portrayal's perception,
or the educated class's perception, 100%. Which is what Helen Lyle gets.
And she makes that point, doesn't she? She makes that point that this whole area of Chicago. This woman gets killed and the police don't arrive. One white woman gets assaulted, and they shut the area down and flush out the bad guy.
But it's like more than that sort of playing on the racism thing. That kind of was even is to a large degree the state of affairs.
Yeah, Chicago is a big divided city,
right?
On racial lines and on they talk about. When she's talking about the buildings that they're in, Helen has bought this expensive condo in this building, and then realises that actually it was part of the same building program. They were building the ghettos, but the L train runs through, so they can separate the ghetto from nice, polite white society.
But they're exactly the same.
They're exactly the same,
except for the people that are in them.
Yeah.
And that happened. I remember it happening in Battersea about 20 years ago. And so you've got very rich blocks of flats right next to the council estate flats. So you've got people in the council estates looking out their windows, seeing the rich and wealthy, and it must be a very weird situation.
Yeah,
I need a nice train line to go through it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, they've got Clapham Junction.
Oh, they are,
but it doesn't quite go through it. When did you guys first see it?
Yesterday.
Really? You've never seen it before?
Never seen it before.
What is it?
I thought it was great. Really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I watched it after I rewatched Brain Dead, and for all the qualities Brain Dead has, you're right, this has that kind of classy, proper... I'm not saying Brain Dead isn't a proper movie, but you know what I mean?
It's a different level.
This is very different. It's really good. And the thing that really struck me is how little you see the Candyman.
Yes.
It is the threat.
He's alluded to all the way through.
And that's the essence, right? That's what he's talking about. It's like, people need to believe in me.
Yeah.
They don't have to see me. They just have to believe I'm real.
Yeah.
And the whole film is like, every now and then it's punctuated with him, but it's not this kind of...
Boogeyman. And everything's kind of signposted. Like, so the film opens with an aerial shot of Chicago with an amazing soundtrack.
Philip Glass. Philip Glass.
I think it's my favourite soundtrack of all time.
Yeah.
Except for the Rock Horror Show.
Yeah, no, he is incredible. He did...
But it looks like bees, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's like a bee colony, possibly. And then the whole city gets enveloped in bees. I've seen this film at least 50 times, if not many more.
Good on you, man.
I watch it every 6 months, probably. When did you first see it?
That's cool. Long time ago. Probably, only a couple of years after it originally came out. On VHS. Watched it with Deborah again. And I, it didn't really touch the sides when I first saw it. Maybe I was a little bit distracted, maybe. And then it was many years since I ever saw it again. And then probably about 3 years ago, I saw it again properly. I was like, whoa, shit, man, this film is, I don't know if it is underrated, I'm not too sure, but my God, for me, definitely it's underrated. This is a brilliant film. So yeah, and then that's why I deliberately picked it again, because it's something we kind of need to massively flag. If you haven't seen Candyman, watch it. But back to the thing what you said, you were surprised that the lack of seeing Candyman in it. It's almost, that's because Candyman didn't need to kind of keep turning up.
Yeah.
It's just she jeopardizes his reality, because all the people in the projects completely believe him.
Yeah.
But she gives that doubt because she says it 5 times flippantly, and then that's why he suddenly has to turn up again and do some more shit.
But it's also the consequence of her breaking into their world and thinking that she could just walk around their world and just have no effect on her.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I was watching it and thinking, I thought she looks a lot like Gillian Anderson.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was wondering, is that because, in the same way we were talking about one of our lighthouse keepers in the Starship Troopers?
Yes. What's his name? Oh, God, go and have a look at the picture downstairs.
What is his name?
What are we talking about?
The guy from Starship Troopers. One of our lighthouse
the guy on the wall
is Viper. Michael Ironside. And I was wondering whether it was a similar thing.
He's going to be furious.
I know, that was bad. But I was wondering whether it was a similar thing that, Michael Ironside got his big break shortly after Jack Nicholson hit with a couple of massive movies because they look quite similar. I was wondering whether Gillian Anderson, Twin Peaks had happened, X-Files had happened. But it actually happened the year after X-Files. It was 93, not 92.
But it is very much about her look. So she was discovered by David Lynch when he was casting June.
Who? Virginia?
Virginia.
Virginia Manson.
Virginia, basically, for June, is she's our narrator. So the film opens. It's a beautiful opening scene of June. You see space, and then you hear her voice. Very beautiful, rich voice. And then she just comes. She's the daughter of the emperor or whatever it is, and she tells you
we're not doing June, we're doing Candyman.
David Lynch basically just because her face, her eyes, her look, just stunning, and that's I think that they wanted from here because a lot of her, that actress went through some serious shit. They were like hypnotising her and everything, but very much eyes. It's about those eyes.
So what do we think of her performance?
Great.
Yeah.
Really great.
She gets it on every moment from the bit when she's trying to communicate with a little lad or befriending the woman with the baby with Eugene, is it?
Yeah.
No,
she's a dead girl.
No, she's a dead girl with Eugene.
It's her neighbour.
Yeah. Or, ended up in prison. Or
the bit when she's been arrested and the
lift up your left breast, lift up your right.
She portrays that, okay, I'm lost and humiliated and I don't know what's happening. Really, really well. Yeah, she's very good. There was also, while I remember, going on to that kind of the almost political commentary about Chicago with the race and the split of society. I was watching this thinking, because the character Helen has a counterpart, almost a sidekick in Bernadette, who they're writing a thesis on urban legend. And I was watching this thinking, Jesus, this is another film of that era where there's a shining white protagonist who's got a black sidekick. I'm thinking, this just reminds me so much of Silence of the Lambs.
Oh.
And I was then thinking, but it's not quite the same. The reason it reminded me of Silence of the Lambs is because the actress is the same. Casey Lemons plays Bernadette in this, and she's Clarice Starling's training partner.
Oh, wow.
In Silence of the Lambs, which was the year before.
Yeah. I think, obviously, her role was really important because you needed to represent someone black who wasn't from the ghetto.
And she was also, she understood that she was counselling that you cannot just come in here and do whatever you want. She was definitely saying, no, we need to leave here. We can't just wander around. Yeah. We're not safe. There's this whole... And that was partly because of the gangs associated with the ghettos, but also when they were up in the apartment, it was that whole kind of, no. She could feel the vibe that Helen couldn't.
Yeah. I love all the performances. The little lad's great.
He is
when he tells a story about what happened to the guy in that, in the toilet.
Yeah,
fantastic. Which is a big fear of Clive Barker, wasn't it? His nan or something used to say, "Don't speak to strangers when you go to the toilet, or they chop your willy off." There's weird men in toilets. So that was like Clive Barker's very visceral early fear. Quickly, just back to the performances of what's her name again? So sorry.
Virginia Madsen.
Yeah. So straight away from that first introduction of her with the cigarette going up her nose, amazing. But she is so good in this, and then they put her under. Basically, the director wanted this whenever the Candyman sort of takes her. This hypnotism. So he basically hypnotised her.
No, he didn't.
He did.
No, he didn't.
There was a trick
She's
word.
in love with him, and she doesn't understand why she's in love with him
No,
until
the
the end.
director
Oh,
on
right.
set.
Oh, right, okay.
She was basically they hypnotised her, and the director had a key word which she would wig out. She would be hypnotised on set, and her eyes were like, whoa. She'd get this bloodshot eyes, tears, and stuff like that. And it got to the point in film, it was like, certain days she couldn't remember filming at all. She completely missed it.
Oh,
So
wow.
I can't even remember doing those things.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where she's like, I'm sorry, I cannot do this anymore.
So, but we do know that every time she sees Candyman, there's a tear in her eye.
Yes.
Yeah, because of this love affair which she can't remember because she's a reincarnation, which found out at the end.
Yeah. But I mean, performance-wise, she's amazing.
This film for me builds so well and at the right pace all the way through. So there's so many good set pieces, and you're moving up towards,
I think the build for me is it fucking Jesus Christ. I'm used to, like, you see in your protagonist or whatever, and in horror, and shit happens, but you've always kind of got this hope. But it's that scene where he first kind of gets her, whatever it was, in the car park, and then she wakes up in the bathroom, laying on the floor, covered in blood. She walks out, and there's like the chop thing, and the baby's, you see blood everywhere, so you think the baby's been murdered. The mum is wigging out.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? And from there on in, you're just like, Jesus, it's really, really heavy, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And she is completely screwed.
She is completely screwed. And it's interesting, I made a note here that, when she's arrested and then she goes to meet, and the Candyman turns up while she's on the bed.
Yes, yeah.
And then they've got video that shows her wigging out to the Candyman being there, but obviously doesn't show the Candyman. So she's in front of the psychologist. And it poses the question. So she says, I can prove it.
Yeah.
I can call him. And she does. She says Candyman 5 times. Nothing happens for a bit. And then the doctor spits blood because the Candyman's put his hook through his back. Interesting question. I think it shades her in an interesting light because that is definitely putting somebody else's life in danger for self-preservation. So she knows what will happen. Absolutely knows what will happen. But she still does it. She still says, well, I'm going to prove it to you, and you'll be dead.
Yeah. Screw you lot.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I really didn't do this.
Would you?
I don't know.
There's a couple of really interesting kind of...
Yeah.
Who
And
would
for
you
me,
believe?
For me, that point as well is at the absolute turning point when unequivocally she's not imagining it. This is here because she's all strapped in and, he lets her go.
good point.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a good point. I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah.
That she might have been making it up until that point.
The other thing that I forget about as well, usually, is, when she's... So many things are happening at the same time in this film, which is what's so good. When she's been arrested, so the detective loves her. You did really well, Miss Lyle. Yeah. And then he's like completely the other way around when he thinks she's...
Well, she gets attacked in the bathroom by somebody using the Candyman legend to perpetrate crime. Yeah. And she is the reason they get to arrest him.
Yeah. Yeah. But she gets to make one phone call. Yeah. And it's just a quick shot, but it's just of her flat and the bed's empty. Yeah. And you forget all about it, and then it's like...
So her husband...
Where were you, Trevor?
Yeah, her husband is a lecturer in all sorts of stuff, but part of his curriculum is urban legends, and she walks into one of his lectures right at the beginning, and it's right at the end of the lecture, and he's surrounded by little teeny bopper... Yeah. Oh, you're my hero. And there's an inference to whether he's having an affair at that point at the beginning.
Yeah. But it's also about levels of intellectual class. Because everyone has to be better than the next person.
Yeah.
So the obnoxious lecturer, like, you surely heard the story of the Candyman. It's like, no. And it's like, and then
he just laughs, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
With the exception of the police chief, like you said, who said you've done really well.
You've done good, I think he said.
And the Candyman. All other men in this film are utter dicks, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the kid, maybe. Obviously, the kid's not a man yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. What do we think about the effects?
It's that kind of visceral, I know is not the word, but there's a certain quality, I suppose, to that Clive Barker film, and I don't know how they managed to do it, but there's just a certain reality, sort of
Dirty
real horribleness to it.
griminess
But
to
the,
everything.
but the art as well. We've got more art in this film.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this art, Laurie?
Yeah.
Good GCSE? Or are we at A-level stage?
It is A level. I did love the graffiti. The graffiti is great. It's got a great.
Sweets to the Sweet.
Yeah, that's
which is
freaking
a reference
awesome.
from Shakespeare, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
So it's in a song as well, isn't it? Sweets.
Don't think they were referencing that.
But the Candyman is actually, he was an artist, wasn't he? So that was
Yeah.
the whole situation where he was there to paint the
So
young virgin.
Do you want to cover the origin story of Candyman?
Yeah, we should do. Yeah.
Probably best not me. I'll give it a go, right? So, Candyman, I think, was born to like a slavery family, but for whatever reason, he managed to actually get.
But I think you'll find his father invented a machine that did the mass production of shoes.
That's it. Make 10 to pair to my one, my son.
They didn't say that.
Okay. So yeah, he got some money.
Fell in love with a girl. She was
Educated.
white. He was black.
He was a painter. He was employed to paint certain guy's daughter. He did it. Fell in love. They had a child, and the father got his vengeance in a really awful way by
Hold
chopping
on a
his hand
minute.
off.
What child?
They had a kid.
They didn't.
She was pregnant.
I don't know.
They said in this that she got pregnant.
She did get pregnant.
Right.
Oh, there's more layers to this
It's
film
not
for
that
you,
she
man.
could be a
You need to watch it
direct
again.
She could be a direct descendant then.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But she is her.
It's always
been
you, Helen.
Okay, go on.
Chop his hand off with a blunt instrument and then gut him.
No, they cover him in honey.
Oh, yeah,
in
that's
honey,
it.
And then
Honey.
the bees sting him to death, and then they set fire to him.
That's
My
it.
question is,
Yeah.
why did they cut his hand off?
So they can make a really cool hook for when he comes back.
That's exactly
Yeah.
why they did
I
it.
think
Clive
so,
Barker
yeah.
started with an image of Candyman, and
Yeah.
went,
Yeah.
how do I justify that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely
Which
right.
is the only bit in this I kind of thought,
Yeah.
okay, this is aesthetic, and you've made that story up. Because,
Yeah.
and I was trying to think, if you were back in the 1800s and you were a lynch mob, which
Yeah.
is effectively what's happened,
Yeah.
what would your rationale be just to cut his right hand off? I can understand cutting the hands off. They'd kind of go, well, you've touched.
Yeah, yes, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
But you've cut them both off, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we're building towards obviously the big bonfire scene at the end.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell,
Which
yeah.
again, brilliant. You know,
And it's just in this-
looks great. It's shot brilliantly.
Just in this bleak, barren space between these massive tower
Yeah.
blocks.
So that was the real project,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, and Cabrini Green is a real
Cabrini
area.
Green,
It's not even a made up name. And she lost everything, and all she's got left is to save the
that
baby.
baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
But I also think it's nice that the way it builds to the bonfire, where she hears the baby, or she gets like a flash forward or something like that, so she knows there's the baby's in the pre-lit bonfire, which is massive.
It's not pre-lit, is it?
Yeah, it's
No.
not on fire. Pre-lit, as in not.
Oh,
yet
right,
on
yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
So she picks up the meat hook, and at that point, I was just thinking, stop picking up incriminating weapons for fuck's sake.
Leave it. Or at least wear a marigold when you do it.
Anyway, so she goes down, climbs over this bonfire, and then climbs behind a mattress.
Oh, yes.
And the hook, she's using the hook to stay there. And Jake, the little kid, looks out the window, and he just sees the hook disappear into the bonfire. So he's there thinking, Candyman's in the bonfire, we need to burn him down. So he and his other little mates turn up with petrol, and you're thinking, oh my god, Jake, you're about to burn this woman and baby. Just brilliant. Love that kind of innocent being kind of driven to this. Oh, it's good.
And she looks amazing when she's on fire and she just managed to have the baby out. That shot looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And then when they all turn up at her funeral, the whole procession.
Yeah, well,
and
there's
then,
only 4 people at a funeral to begin with, and then
because I suppose that would be the case if you were
you'd have been distant.
classed as a car. Right, memorable scenes.
They turn up because they know that Candyman got his curse on her shit.
Yeah, well, they throw the hook down. I thought it was a real sign of respect, but then they just throw the hook onto the coffin, perpetuating the myth. All right, memorable scenes. I put all of them. Toilets, bonfire, dying at the end, the whole end bit with the meat, where the girls are slapping the meat down, and cutting up the meat, and she's got a bloody knife.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, though, that is the bluntest knife in the world because she's actually stood there tapping the sharp edge of the
She
blade
did.
against
I
her
saw
hand.
that.
And it was like, whoa, I don't do that. That's
Very
not
thin
really-
jumper as well.
Yeah, very thin jumper. There is quite a bit of nipple action in this film.
He didn't have the heating on, did he?
No.
I mean, it is very obvious what's happened at the end, but it's just so good. When
It
he's
is
in the
so
toilet going,
The question to me...
So you quite easily say Helen 5 times in front of a mirror,
But he
wouldn't you?
doesn't.
By accident.
He doesn't. Helen gets summoned with 4 Helens, not 5.
you miss.
Are you sure?
What's the
Yeah.
matter, Trevor? What did she say? What's wrong, Trevor? Cat got your tongue?
Is that it?
I think.
Don't know, don't remember. But yeah, I treble checked it. He only says Helen 4 times.
Treble checked as well.
Are you sure?
Well, the 3 times
Right,
I watched
okay.
Treble checked goes to...
We will insert
yeah.
the bit here.
Oh, Helen. 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 Helen.
Ow.
What's the matter, Trevor? Scared of something?
So you think it's 5? I counted 4.
I think he says it slightly a bit earlier.
You see
And
it
then
maybe
4.
in like a scene, yeah. He says it once.
3 weeks earlier. The show. Hello.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying, like with that name, like people are going to get fucked up bad because you can quite easily say that.
And frankly,
that name.
I have no sympathy for the student who is then going to get the Candyman curse because of that massive fucking paperclip she put on the wall.
What?
You see that? Between the kitchen and the bathroom, that scene where she's getting eggy about the steak salad.
Yeah.
There's just this massive fucking paperclip on the wall.
I've not seen it. I'm going to check it out. This film is a gift that keeps on giving.
It does.
Alright, do not watch any of the sequels. They are making a new version. At the moment.
Yeah, who's cast it? Who's directing?
Do you know?
Jordan Peele.
Ah, well, that's a good sign.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, actually, I did want to.
Well, we can't because you two haven't seen it and I've seen us, and we'll talk about it when you two have seen it on the next episode.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about US then.
Okay. Okay. So right, look, let's wrap it up. Does it stand up today? Yes, of course it does.
Agreed.
Memorable lines. I hear you looking for Candyman, bitch. I hear you looking for Candyman, bitch. I hear you looking for Candyman, bitch. I ring people up and say that down the phone when people answer.
Do you really?
Sometimes, yeah.
Wow.
I kind of like the bit where he says he's not real, he's Dracula, he's Frankenstein. So that's the whole sort of heart of it, where she's
Could you write these lines down so they're direct quotes?
Well, all right, sorry, but whatever that quote bit is, that's her puncturing to the kid. He's not real, man. And the kid's got that doubt, so that prompts Candyman to get his shit on her shit, and it perfectly frames that fact that Candyman actually is romantic as is Dracula, as is Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's very tragic as is Dracula and Frankenstein. It's got that weird kind of...
Oh, when you first see it in the underground car park.
Yeah.
How brilliant is that?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You just see
It's
his feet walking,
noble,
don't you?
Yeah.
noble, his voice,
And she falls down the car with
sexy,
the tear in her-
seductive,
Yeah.
Right,
fucking
let's do it.
terrifying.
Can I just say,
Yes.
the bit where she is talking to Jake for the first time,
Yeah.
and she just says, "It will be our secret." Nobody should ever say that to a small child. Ever.
Yeah.
It's all right if they say this has to be our secret.
Or to me, actually, because I'm terribly ignorant. In fact, I now say, just don't tell me. Don't
Good to
tell
know.
me.
Good
Easy.
to know.
Yeah. All right. So,
Sorry, one other quick question: would you be covered in bees for your art? So both Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen actually were covered in bees.
did they remove
yeah.
the bee stingers?
No.
Well, they were they did. The guy that was the bee man, as it were, he loved these bees, and he basically very, very young bees. If they're less than 12 hours old, they don't actually have a sting. So he was basically
12 hours
birthing them, on set, and when they were ready to shoot, they'd take them down. However, the mouth scene for our guy, he got stung to shit, but obviously the sting wasn't quite enough to really screw him up. And it turns out Virginia, it actually turned out she had a hyper allergic reaction to bee stings.
Oh my
so
God.
they had to have an ambulance literally just out of shot.
So, which takes me back to my question. If you knew that, would you
do
allow
it?
to be covered in bees?
No,
For this
I
story,
found out
she went deep,
She
man.
went through it,
the whole
yeah.
hypnotism stuff.
So
she
good.
went heavy
Right.
on this.
Right, let's go it. Performances, Laurie.
Oh yeah, 8,
8.
10. Effects, Wyndham.
7.
7.
9. Plot, 10.
You like this, didn't you? 8,
7.
Rewatch facts, 10.
5.
7,
Direction, 10.
7.
7. Because he's pushing it.
Cinematographer, 10.
7.
I'm back
Jesus
off all my
Christ.
points.
Yeah.
8,
Sound of music, 10, because it's brilliant.
8,
6.
Originality, 9.
8.
8.
Enjoyability, 10.
It's not enjoyable.
8. Is the job was good.
But yeah, it is 7.
And life-changing past or present, 10.
0.
I'm gonna say that's a
Don't manipulate your scores.
7.
Right, I thought you might like that very badly. 98 from me.
Fucking hell. 98.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favourite films.
What did it drop
of all
scores?
time.
What did it drop?
Well,
points on?
I knocked it one off for originality,
Right.
and because I wanted to be fair and effects.
Because
But I
you
wanted
wanted
to
to be
give it-
fair. Yeah, whatever.
Right, what we got?
75.
75, 90, 98. Hold on, I'm making a mess of my notes. This is clearly going to be up there. My score was 63, giving us a pretty punchy 78.6 recurring.
Wow. Okay, so it puts it right at the top of our 2019.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm not happy that it's come below The Exorcist, but I'll live with that. So 78.6 on our overall, it's below The Exorcist, above Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's...
That's pretty good. Come on.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it knocks off Salem's Lot from the top 10.
Oh
Goodbye,
no!
Salem's Lot.
What the shit? By the way, I still haven't finished it. I'm still reading
Still in
it.
your book.
And I've got an idea. Can you, when I'm not looking, can you scribble out like the last word of the book?
Can we rip the page over?
No, not the page, just the last word. Okay. I never want to finish it.
It's Lot.
Damn it!
Right, whose turn is it to choose?
Is it my turn?
Yes. Because it was your turn last week.
Yeah.
Last time, rather.
Rifle.
Rifle.
What's that? I know what A rifle is. Why are you singing it?
Now you are
I don't know, I'm holding it.
rifling.
Rummaging and rifling.
I think so. You've done all your prep for this bit, Laurie.
What
You know,
bit?
you demanded to see the list so you could prep all your films.
Oh shit!
I've dropped your ball. I've got it.
What is it?
We have number 43.
Oh. Okay. Which
It's my age.
and
my
the
age.
category is Armageddon.
Armageddon out of here.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be back in a minute with our Armageddon films. All right, so we're back. Wyndham, you've got to choose Armageddon, so
Okay.
we've got some choices for you.
Okay, James, what's your first choice?
My first choice is War of the Worlds with the most recent one, the Spielberg version.
With Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Because, listen, I don't think we should always choose brilliant films like The Candyman.
just choose shit ones sometimes.
Well, yeah, so we can, because we'll be able to criticise them. So that's my first choice.
Okay.
I don't want anything to knock Candyman off the top 10 ever.
Right. My first one is a John Carpenter film. We've already covered 2 of his Armageddon trilogy, and the one in the middle we still haven't covered. That's called Prince of Darkness.
Okay. Right, and my other one
Darkness.
is it's called Threats, and it was a TV movie miniseries in the early 80s about very British about what happens if there's a nuclear war, and it's quite dark and bleak and
Very dark.
amazing.
Very bleak. My one is a film I haven't seen for a long, long time, and definitely worth a rewatch, would be 12 Monkeys.
Ooh.
Definitely need to see that again. Terry Gilliam.
Okay.
2 brilliant choices there.
I
Laurie's.
I have made my selection. So I agree. I thought War of the Worlds was shit, so we're not going to watch that one again.
Okay.
I do want to complete this trilogy, but not today. I'm going to go 12 Monkeys because I haven't seen it for ages. And I've just had a quick look on IMDb, and Threads gets rated 8.1 out of 10.
Okay.
Which is pretty freaking high for IMDb. So it's Threads and 12 Monkeys.
That is going to be an exciting episode. Let's hope the world doesn't end before then.
Yeah, I should make sure I left the cooker on.
So I've got to go because some twat's going to invite themselves round to my house for dinner.
Oh, some people are so rude. When are we due?
What
time are we due?
About an hour.
Beautiful.
The tide's out. How are you going to...
Great.
All right, fine.
I haven't got anything. What do we say at the end? I can never remember. Bye.
Is that it, really?
No. You did say you was James, but you said you're not allowed to say that.
I don't say that anymore.
He was James.
I've been James.
I'm Wyndham.
I've been trying to do representation of Laurie. I'm not going to admit to it.
We really need to work on this exit.
We do. Bye.
Laters. Cheers.
Lighthouse.